Tell us about this obscene gesture without giving it.
Well, I don't know if you saw it last night during the Super Bowl halftime show, but
I missed it. I missed
one of the performers, a singer named M.I.A, actually flipped off the audience during the show.
We're looking at a picture of it now that's been sort of merged out. But carry on.
So, you know, a lot of people, I'm not sure a lot of people saw it, but certainly a couple of complaints have already been filed with the FCC today. NBC and the NFL have both apologized, but they've also started pointing fingers at each other, saying that the other should have known this was going on. NBC said that they didn't get the tape delayed in time. So it's a slight mess today.
And it's coming at a really timely moment, right? Because the Supreme Court is considering this issue right now.
Right, so this is something the Supreme Court's actually looking at right now, which is related to previous incidents where singers and the infamous 2004 Super Bowl performance with Janet Jackson, where you're talking about fleeting expletives or fleeting visions of breasts or whatever on the screen. And the Supreme Court is looking at this issue right now, see whether the FCC actually has the power to fine broadcasters for this sort of thing.
Is there actually any evidence that we're seeing more of this happening, or is it just a sense that there's more of this happening? I mean, do we know that there is a lot more, expletives and profanities coming on TV live?
You know, a lot of profanities happen on TV that a lot of them are really mostly unscripted on live broadcasts, often at sports events. You know, there's been a lot of complaints filed at the FCC on times for the incidents where a word might be said, but it was bleeped out, so you might hear a shh, but you might not hear anything else. And so that's, people can still file complaints about that. Not super clear if the FCC can fine you for that.
Does it make any difference if it was accidental or deliberate? I mean, obviously it's hard to know looking into someone's head, but I'm looking at that picture and it looked deliberate, whereas I'm sure someone could just let a word slip. You see the difference. Does that make any difference to the courts or the FCC?
Well, for the FCC in the past, they used to look at that kind of thing very carefully and said, if a broadcaster didn't know something was going to happen, if it was inadvertent, it wasn't scripted, then basically they got a pass on it. In 2003, the FCC kind of backtracked on that and said, well, you might get fined for that in the future. We'll have to take a look at it. And that's something broadcasters are very concerned about because in this incident, the NFL said today, they had no idea M.I.A was going to be doing this. NBC didn't know they were going to do it. And then NBC, in fact, tried to actually black this out, and the screen flickered a little bit right after this happened because they were trying to stop this in case she did anything else, but they didn't. So, it kind of remains to be seen if the FCC would even fine NBC for this.
And for this particular incident, has there been a lot of, backlash and, people being upset from, I think there's a Parents Television Council and other groups that kind of follow this really closely, I think. They've apologized. They've done what they can. So, I mean, has it been relatively muted in this particular Super Bowl, incident where everyone was watching TV?
Well, today the Parents Television Council said they weren't going to be filing, they weren't going to ask their members to file complaints, although later in the day they kind of backtracked a little bit on that. I checked with the FCC. They have received complaints about this, but they haven't received an enormous number of complaints. They've received a few. It only takes one, but we'll see how it goes in the next few days.